Jumping high is not only about your skills. Your board can help you go big or can slow down your progress. Let's see what board to choose for big air and what features really matter. Hi guys! A good board for big air should combine the ability to keep high speed, to go upwind effectively, and to provide soft landings. The height of the jump is defined by how hard you can carve upwind right before takeoff, so let's start from features improving board's upwind efficiency. Why does your board go upwind? Most of the riders in fact rely mostly on fins. They are rotating their shoulders and the whole body to point the board upwind. In fact, in this case, when the board stays almost flat, the fins are the only thing that drive the board upwind. Since the fins are relatively small, they are not able to provide a really sharp upwind course. When you want to go really sharp, something that windsurfers call spin out happens. The water flow disconnects from the fin and it starts to create only drag, slowing you down and not affecting your course anymore. Higher fins will not help you go upwind much, but still can help you resist the pull of the kite, which is very important before the jump, while the most powerful upwind tool is the board itself. While moving through the water, it can act as a wing. When you press the tail down, you increase the angle of attack. The water flow then being redirected downwards, subsequently creating a lift pointed upwards. Now, if you start to edge the board, the lift will be pointing more parallel with the surface, driving you and your board upwind. Since the board's area is huge if compared to fins, it will be almost impossible to create an excessive angle of attack and therefore kill the lift. If we are talking about pure freeride, especially light wind, a longer board will go upwind better since it has more area able to create lift. But when the wind is strong and the speed is high, it will be much harder to submerge a longer board into the water, so a shorter board would be a better choice. At this point, many riders who know how to edge the board make a very common mistake. They would shift all the way towards the tail of the board to increase the angle of attack. As a result, the nose of the board rises over the water, reducing the effective area of the board, therefore reducing the lift and increasing the probability of sliding downwind instead of going upwind. The board's geometry just stops working. The true secret of super effective upwind riding is changing the angle of attack of the board without losing a proper weight distribution between your feet and edging, and I want you to remember that really good. It is a whole different philosophy of going upwind, and we are talking about it in details in my Way of Advanced Kite video, check out the link in the description. There is also a myth that a high rocker affects the upwind ability of the board. Some people say it reduces it, some say the opposite. In fact, it does none. It virtually increases the angle of attack on the nose, at the same time decreases it on its tail. As a result, the things stay more or less the same. What it really does, it creates additional drag, which slows the board down. Since going upwind kills the speed, the board with a higher rocker will just stop earlier than a flat board, and that's the difference. So, for a pure freeride case, a flat board is the best to go upwind. But we are talking about big air here, so we still need some rocker. Why? The answer is landings. If you land on a flat board without any rocker, the water will act like concrete. The rocker breaks the surface tension of the water. The bottom of the board contacts with the water gradually, shifting the water sideways and making it easier to penetrate, therefore softening the landing. The rocker also lifts the tips of the board, making it harder to stumble over the chop while riding away. So a moderate rocker of 35 to 50 mm for a 135 board is a good balanced choice. What about other bottom geometry elements like channels or V-keel? Do you need them? You can think of channels as small integrated fins. They are located in the middle of the bottom and always have good contact with the water. They eliminate minor yawing of the board, helping it to stay on track better. The board feels less slippery, especially on landings. It is a question of personal preference. As for me, I would definitely choose a channeled board for that feeling of stability. What about V-keel? While helping the board to go up and just like fins, V-keel at the same time plays a much more important role. Just like a rocker, it breaks the surface tension of water on landing, making it softer, but without creating additional drag while riding. That's why, for example, carpet boards have a very low rocker for maximum speed and high V-keel to compensate that and make landing softer. How do dimensions of the board affect its big air performance? As we already discovered, you don't need your kiteboard to be too long. Not only because it is harder to submerge a bigger board into the water, but also because additional length causes additional width. If the board is too wide, it will be harder to put it on its edge, since the leverage against edging efforts will grow together with board's width. Edging is crucial for big air riding. It is a complicated skill, almost an art. You can find more materials about edging techniques and additional exercises on my Patreon page, which I have created recently. Join it to help me produce future videos, find exclusive tutorials, order your personal video analysis, get early access to my YouTube videos, and vote for the next YouTube episode. What about the outline of the board? You know that every board is more narrow on its tips than in the middle. Thanks to it, choppy water feels less bumpy, since chop is now meeting the board gradually. On the other hand, super narrow tips are reducing the effective length of the board's edge, therefore reducing your ability to resist the pull, which is crucial for a big air rider. So my advice is to choose the board with the widest tips possible to achieve maximum big air performance. To recap, the best board for big air should be as short and narrow as possible, let's say on the bottom of the range recommended for your weight, with widest tips possible and a moderate rocker. Choose the highest fins to provide maximum resistance against the pull of the kite. Bottom channels are also recommended. V-keel is highly recommended. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe buttons, and see you in the next episode.